Hi, welcome to the second hour of this Tuesday edition of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. The network is American Family Radio Talk Network, AFR Talk. I'm Brian Fisher. The program is Focal Point. Just a reminder, Life in the Fishbowl retreat coming up for pastors in the middle of October. This is something that AFA, Repairing the Foundations, our pastoral outreach ministry, we had Bert Harper on yesterday to talk about that. An opportunity for you and your church to send your pastor and his wife away for 3 days where they can get refreshment, they can get relaxation. The cost is just $400 for the couple. Be a great thing to do for Pastors Appreciation Month. It's right in the middle of October, which is Pastor Appreciation Month. Go to repairingthefoundations.net. Get all the information that you need right there. Now, I want to finish up on that time what's going on in Colorado and then we'll go to the phones, 888-589-8840. Now, what's going on in Colorado is this, and again, this is how it needs to be done, because this is the pattern that was set for us by the Founding Fathers. What did they do when they wanted to deal with the tyranny of the crown? They came together in Congress assembled, representing the 13 colonies, to decide what to do about this oppression, what to do about this tyranny. They debated. They discussed, they met, they assembled, they thought, they had formal conversations, formal debates, informal conversations, informal debates, and the outcome of the Continental Congress meeting for almost 2 years was what? It was the Declaration of Independence, where the representatives of the American colonies made a decision representing the will of their people to separate from England and to declare themselves independent and declare the 13 states as free and independent states. They are, and of right ought to be, sovereign and independent states. So that's how they did it. They declared independence, and then from July 4, 1776 onward, the United States existed as a sovereign nation among all the nations of the world. Now, the Crown didn't like it. They sent troops to try to put this down, to try to take back control of the United States. But remember, that was not a rebellion. There was not a revolution on our part. We weren't rebelling against anyone because we were now citizens, inhabitants of a new sovereign nation. So at that point, we were fighting a defensive battle. We weren't launching a rebellion. We were taking up arms to protect our liberty, to protect our independence. It was not a rebellion. The inappropriate use of force was from the Crown of England. They were invading another nation's sovereign territory, and we had every right and every responsibility to protect our sovereign territory. So the way it has to begin is with the representatives of the American people meeting together to enact the will of the people, making these formal decisions as the officially elected representatives of the people. This is what's going on in Colorado. Representatives of 10 rural Colorado counties met Monday in the sleepy plains town of Akron, about a half an hour from the Kansas border, to advance a plan that has been both hailed and ridiculed in recent weeks, a bid to split from Colorado and form the country's 51st state. Proponents have called it an inevitable result of what they say is a loss of representation in Denver, where Democrats, read liberals, have controlled state government and, in the minds of many rural Coloradans, ignored them in favor of liberal urban interests, just as the colonists said, look, the Crown is ignoring our needs, our interest, in favor of the interest of the Crown. We need to do something about it. That's what these folks in rural Colorado are doing. Colorado has made national headlines this year in having passed a full slate of progressive laws, including tough new gun control laws, new rights for illegal immigrants, regulations for legal marijuana, many other controversial pieces of legislation. Several commissioners said the backbreaker was Senate Bill 252, a new measure that requires rural electrical cooperatives to double the amount of renewable energy they offer to consumers by 2020. That's just going to send energy prices through the ceiling. And that was the straw. It's interesting to me. You think about what the reason the United States became an independent nation was because of tax on tea. And I think at the time, you go back to 1760, okay, what are the issues that are going to precipitate this wholesale departure of the United States from their allegiance to the crown? Nobody would guess it was going to be a tax on tea. And so what was the deal breaker, the backbreaker rather, for these Colorado farmers is this diktat from progressives in Denver that the rural electrical cooperatives have got to provide a certain percentage of energy from renewables. It'll be astronomical, the impact on rural power. So that was the thing that really put these people over the top. The first step for one of the leaders here, the first step is for each county's citizens to vote to officially exclude their county from the state of Colorado. Once those votes were conducted, counties that passed the secession measure, assuming they all shared a border, would ask voters from all of Colorado to amend the Colorado Constitution to remove their combined area from the state and require that the state legislature submit a formal request that Congress recognize its 51st member. If the statewide measure passes and Congress agrees to enter it into the Union, North Colorado would become the 51st state. So there, you see what I'm talking about. It's done in an orderly process. It's done in a political process. It's done with people voting, with people expressing their will at the ballot box, with people choosing representatives who will represent their interest and their needs and their desires. That's how you do it. Well, let's go to Tom in Chula Vista, Arkansas. Tom, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind? Oop, I guess I got to bring Tom in. Hang on just a second. There we go. Tom, Chula Vista, Arkansas. My bad. What can I do for you?
That's quite all right. It's an honor to speak to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for calling.
Hey, on the issue of the 51st state, North Colorado.
Yeah.
They would actually they would have to set up a Republican form of government and then ratify the U.S. Constitution before they could become a state. But I'm interested in your viewpoint on. So they would have to accede to the Union to become a member of the United States.
Yeah, they would essentially be seceding from the state of Colorado, but they would only be doing that with the permission of Colorado voters. Colorado voters would have to go to the polls and say, yeah, we agree to allow them to leave.
See, I don't personally think that step would be necessary because we are a self-governing people. And, unless there's I'm not familiar with the Colorado State Constitution. If that's specifically in there, then that would be the case. Otherwise, they could just do what they wanted to do. And that brings up a great question. We've talked about currently today what's happening in Colorado, and you've mentioned back what happened in the 1700s. What's your view on the South seceding from the Union at the time?
Well, Tom, I tell you, can you hang on over the break? I know you've been waiting a long time. We've got a hard break coming up. Can you wait 2 more minutes so we can finish this?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
We'll come back to Tom right after this break. Focal Point on AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Great to have you in the conversation. In Colorado's Constitution may prohibit secession. I know Idaho's Constitution prohibited secession from the Union in the wake of the Civil War. Focal Point, AFR Talk.